So you have those, as myself, who have no political affiliation to either side. I am neither Republican nor Democrat, and I've always found myself to be someone to be a champion of change, of applying words into actions, and applying that towards the betterment of mankind and of society. And what you are actually seeing more and more unveiling itself is the collapse of the matrix in itself. And the collapse, especially of the Hollywood industry. You see that more and more people are awakening in the world. They are starting to open their eyes and tear apart the deceptions of reality. And you see that reality has fabricated so much truth. You see that reality has started to tear apart the foundations and tear down the walls of misconceptions, of miscommunications, of lies, of all the deceptions that were controlling our minds intentionally. And our minds are controlled by design, by intentions, for a specific reason, or reason to corrupt the minds of people, to dumbing us down, to destroying and tearing apart family values, traditions. And you see so much of the world starting to come together. You see a lot of the world to shape itself and reconstruct itself. I believe, in my personal perspective and opinion, a lot of these celebrities that I actually once had looked up to, that including Billie Eilish, Tyler Perry, Mark Hamill, to name a few, and I thought these were authentic and genuinely wonderful and great quality people, but however, I was absolutely wrong. They want to spin the narrative, they want to spin and promote this agenda where it's ultimately not benefiting the country, but it's tearing the country apart even more. It's causing more, it's adding more fuel to the fire. It's destroying our country. And our country, the world as a whole, is falling underneath and into the trap, into the specific regime of whatever you want to call it. Communism, fascism, socialism. And it's no longer a democracy. It's no longer a safe haven. Unless if we come together as a collective, as a consciousness and a community, and expanding beyond the community into throughout the world, humanity as a whole, to become contributions and champions of changes and positive progression of the world around us. And as such, okay, best example, okay, one of the things that we're ultimately failing at, or I should do this into I should film this into a separate video, but there's so many people, I'm looking around even right now, there's so many people who feel entitled or superior, resilient, defiant, rebellious. You know, they don't want to, they absolutely refuse to wear the masks when it's required by law and mandatory by law, required by law. It's not just required anymore, it's mandatory to wear your masks whenever you go into public places, as such, you know, restaurants, stores, and what have you. You're supposed to wear your mask. Unless if you have a legitimate health concern, like if you have like a severe asthma or something. That's what I've heard. I don't know if it's to be true or not, but I mean, certain exceptions. But ultimately, you know, we're supposed to wear our masks to put an end to the virus. And I'm not sure what your perspective is. Like, some of you might believe that COVID-19 is real. Some people might believe that it's false. Whatever your perspective is, you know, there's a time to be defined. There's an appropriate time for everything in life. But these Hollywood celebrities, I don't believe that celebrities, people who are influential artists and public figures, should have any room to say anything in regards to politics or how we should or should not live our lives as everyday citizens, as common folk, as common people. And that's just my perspective, unless if they are going to become contributions of positive changes to heal the world, to be one to put money where their mouth is. Essentially, money talks, bullshit walks. You know, a bit of a douchebag. He come off as this, you know, it's like he's like this know-it-all. And, you know, believe it or not, he actually was one of the people, just like Tyler Perry, to come from the bottom up. I mean, from nothingness to becoming a billionaire, a millionaire. And another celebrity that I started to have a lot of respect for was, now don't shoot me, alright? Kanye West. That's just to name a few. But Matthew McConaughey, that's another good one. Jim Carrey is another all-time favorite of mine. But the point being of this video is that you have to really be careful and be vigilant and observe yourself. Observe your priorities and your convictions, your perceptions, your perspective of, and your opinion of why you want to support certain artists, even YouTubers. You know, why do you want to, why should you support so-and-so? Why should you support him, her, they, whatever? And are their intentions in the right place? Do you know them that well? You have to correlate, you have to connect these perfect dots together to create this puzzle piece, you know? And there's so many people who are, unfortunately, in the industry, who are only out there for the fame and glory, the riches, to live a lavish lifestyle. Well, I hate to tell you this much, but they hate to see the Civil War brewing in a kitchen. They hate to see the Matrix in itself collapsing because they are being exposed. More and more people are becoming Starseeds, getting involved in into the occult to become witch practitioners. Sorry, I've got a small bit of a cold, so my head is a bit hazy today. But there are so many people who are inevitably opening their eyes to the truth of the world. And they are very much afraid, and they are threatened by their lavish lifestyles to dissipate, to disappear, to no longer be of existence. They absolutely hate that idea. They absolutely hate the idea that they get to drive around, they get to no longer drive around in their Bugattis, you know, their Lamborghinis, and live up in a 20, 30 bedroom mansion and so forth. And, you know, best example, look at James O'Barr, you know, the creator of The Crow. And he's a millionaire, but he lives in Detroit, Michigan, in a small bedroom house. I believe by himself or with a family, but I don't know. But anyway, you know, you have to be content, you have to be humble, and you have to remember where you come from. You have to remember who you are. And, you know, you would be surprised, like, money and fame, it changes so many people. It makes them so blinded by their own arrogance, by their own pride, by everything, you know. And I understand, you know, a lot of these celebrities are people who come from nothingness to rise to something greater than themselves, and they become rich and famous and popular. But then again, they completely forgotten a lot of times of where they originally had come from, like their own communities that they were born and raised in. However, you don't see them helping their communities. You don't see them doing anything, much less. And that's what I had talked about in my previous video, calling you out, Hollywood, because that in itself is a brutal truth. And you've got people like myself who are out here every day to raise awareness, to raise the vibrational frequencies of our planet, to try to instill knowledge and awareness into the minds of so many people. And honestly, that is a great threat to them. And especially to working with charities and helping people to become united instead of divided. And it's an unfortunate thing, because they are, at the end of the day, what they are. They get paid to be actors, singers, musicians, painters, sculptors. The list goes on. To be artists, to hone their craft, to bring that to the forefront of the world. And without artistry in the world, we are truly mundane, depressive existence. We are absolutely voided. We have nothing, you know. And for people to appreciate art is something that we have to do so much more. Art helps keep our sanity. It elevates, alleviates our mood, among so many other things. Art is very much vital and essential to the world, I believe, in my personal opinion. It's unfortunate to me because you have so many of these celebrities who exist to breathe in this lavish lifestyle of theirs, yet they have no understanding of how to give back to the communities. And a lot of them are so much of a douchebag, and they're so stuck up and arrogant that they would have absolutely nothing in a world to do with the everyday common people. And there are only a few people that I could actually think of that were truly amazing to all their fans, and actually appreciate their fans, to take time to spend with them. But then again, you know, I don't think that celebrities, they really don't relate to the everyday people. They really don't understand what it is or what it feels like to be a part of the everyday working class. They have absolutely no idea of what the reality of the world is, because they stay completely guarded by security with guns in the private sanctuary of their private gated communities, and, you know, living up in their mansions. Like, Eminem is another one of the person I lost a lot of respect for, because he came from a trailer trash, nothing, nowhere, in the middle of nowhere, in a rundown, beaten up neighborhood, in the slums, in the projects, in a ghetto. Alright? Now he lives up in this $40-50 million mansion, you know? Never seen him do anything for charity, much less to do anything. So, I don't know. I mean, you know, it is what it is. So, you see so much of this matrix coming down and collapsing on its own. And it was only the inevitable, because as a human species, we have done this to ourselves. And especially with silence being the worst of all things considered. And the more you stay silent, the worse that everything is ultimately going to become. And there's so many people who drown themselves in apathy, drown themselves in ignorance, and this world is truly becoming worse, you know. People always have this misconception about every year. They look forward to every year because they think every year is going to get better, but inevitably, ultimately, every year is becoming worse and worse. And it's time to brace yourselves, because this world is going to collapse. And the Mayan calendars, the Starseed, awakening, the prophecy of the age of Aquarius, the Bible in its revelations, everything is coming to light. This world is, unfortunately, has to tear itself or each other apart first before we're able to actually get sanctuary. So, talk to you.